that many of these men have not seen, and it can bite you. They've not been on the super speedway.
Well, they can bite you. You know, this track is probably one of the most challenging racetracks that we have, that we run on. Having 3 different racetracks in one, you've got Michigan in turn 1, you've got Indianapolis in turn 2, and Milwaukee in turn 3. So it's a very challenging racetrack to set a car up, you know, to get around the track competitively and get around the track fast. And it does make it difficult, and it can bite you. But I think from what I've heard from most of the guys that have run it, that haven't run here before, I think they're really enjoying it very much so.
They did last year, certainly. They had a good, clean 100-mile dash that averaged 168 miles an hour before Tommy Byrne won it, taking the checkered flag. We have 5 different winners from 1988 in this field, many of them going 175 miles an hour for the first time in their careers. Now they'll do it in traffic, and we'll see how they do in just a few moments. We'll be right back with the starting field and the green flag.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to introduce to you Mr. John Fugero, Sales Promotion Manager for International Jensen Audio. John?
Thank you. At this time, as a proud sponsor of the ARS Series, Jensen Audio would like you to start your Buick engines.
The order has gone out, and the engines have fired on 14 ARS competitors set to go for 100 miles, 40 laps at Pocono. The man on the pole for the second time in 1988 is number 7, Dave Simpson. He won Milwaukee and leads the points this year. Outside of row number 1, Jan Beekes. Last time out at the Meadowlands, he picked up his first ever ARS victory, brimming with confidence coming to the super speedway of Pocono. Inside of row number 2, a winner in 1988 already at Portland, and a winner last year here at the Pocono International Raceway, Tommy Byrne out of Jacksonville, Florida. Michael Greenfield, fresh in from Formula Atlantic, his first ARS ride, and qualified 4th in the field. Inside of row number 3, the 21 car, Michael Snow. His best finish so far at Milwaukee, a 2nd. He does like the ovals. Outside of the row, Calvin Fish. Won Toronto earlier this season. Fastest in the final warm-up for these cars for this event. Watch him early. Steve Barkley on the inside of row number 3, the R&K Racing entry out of California. And outside of him, back in ARS after 3 races off, is Jeff Andretti, but with a new team. He won at Pocono in 1986. Inside row number 5 is Gary Rubio, trying to get into the top 5 for the first time in 1988. Outside of him, Juan Manuel Fangio, the number 12 car. Won Cleveland, very competitive all the time, but trying to come to terms, I think, with the big ovals, as is Guido Dacco on the inside of row number 6. He is strong on the road courses and is still trying to figure out Pocono. Outside of row number 6, George Metzos, only his 2nd run in 1988. He's been off since Phoenix back in April. On row number 7, Brian Angayas from Long Beach, California, and Ted Prappas from Los Angeles, California. Those 2 men had to repair race cars to be added to the back of the field, but they're more fortunate, I think, than others, Rick Mears, in that earlier there were 4 other competitors who got into the wall and couldn't fix the cars to make the show.
Well, that's a shame. You know, everybody comes here to race, and those things do happen. But this is a tough racetrack, and when you've got 3 different corners that are totally different, it makes it very difficult to set the car up and to get it right. And I think that's probably one of the problems that some of them are having.
They're working on the backside of the course through turn number 2. When they come around to the front, they're expected to get the green flag, and they're starting to tighten up the rows. I do know that all of the stewards, including Wally Dallenbach and Alan Wilson, Rick, were very concerned about a good, tight, tidy, clean start on this high-speed course, and it looks like they're working hard at getting just that.
Well, I think they will. They had a pretty good meeting about that, and I think it's very important to have a good, clean, tight start, and we should see a good start here today.
Those 2 men, Dave Simpson and Jan Beekes, in control on the short shoot, if you will, here at Pocono, coming into the 6-degree bank of turn number 3, still scrubbing the tires a little bit, and maybe not at this point to get warmth into them, but to make sure any foreign matter might be off them, Rick. Very important, especially here, because a lot of times stuff gets on the track they can't see, but it will cut a tire.
Yes, it does. You get, you know, and some rubber buildup from the rubber that's been laid down, so they do want to clean them.
On the front straightaway, the acceleration is underway, and the green flag waves as Tommy Byrne takes a peek down to the inside before the flag did come out. He pulled back in line. It's a good start. Dave Simpson just on the inside of Jan Beekes, and you see the dicing in behind on that long straightaway into turn number 1, and it looks like Beekes got there, and Tommy Byrne moves around Simpson on the outside for 2nd place as they cleared turn number 1. It is Jan Beekes, who was fastest in a couple of sessions, taking the front, but here's Tommy Byrne onto the binders, down low, and Beekus is able to pull away 5 or 6 car lengths. So Beekus carried it in deeper, Rick, and a good piece of driving right there to hold off the charge.
Well, Beekus had the line, and that corner is a very narrow line, and it's very tough to go through there two abreast. So, you know, one of them had to give up. They did a good job at it.
Onto the front straightaway to put the first 40 laps into the book. It is Jan Beekus by about 15 car lengths over Tommy Byrne, and then Mike Greenfield is into the third slot, and it is Dave Simpson tucking back into 4th position. Now, Simpson won the pole with near record time here. He's a very good oval racer as well as a man on the road courses, and headed, it appears, to Indianapolis, Rick, but in the final practice, something was off, and it shows here in the early going as Fish is right out his way.
Well, also, he could be getting the tires up temperature and everything getting settled in. I think he had a pretty good jump on the start and had a little problem before he got to the corner, so he may have maybe just a little missed gear or something like that to drop him back and let everybody get a run, but he'll probably be working his way back up through there.
Of course, it's always critical if you miss a gear or any kind of hesitation like that. With these, you miss a gear, and the rev limiter comes into play, and you really lose a lot of ground. Back at the lead, Tommy Byrne down, taking a peek to the inside of Jan Beekus off turn number 3, and we've got a move on the front straightaways. They hit the stripe, and there goes Byrne down to the inside. It's a drag race now with Greenfield right there into turn number 1, and Calvin Fish ducking down to the inside of Dave Simpson, also trying to pick up a position into 4th. But it is Byrne who takes the lead going into lap number 3. Good, strong, straightaway move by Tommy Byrne to get the position of Beekus back just a little bit. And here comes Greenfield making a run for 2nd.
He got a good run at him coming off of turn 1, and it didn't look like he's got quite enough, but he tried to utilize the draft after you come off the corner to try to pick up the slipstream and get a run at the guy before the corner, but he wasn't quite able to make it.
That's twice that Beekus has been able to hold the line and hold off someone in turn number 2, but on the front straightaway, it was Tommy Byrne, last year's champion, who got him, and he's pulling away. Beekus right now, along with Greenfield and the others, struggling to maintain contact, and you see Calvin Fish has moved into 4th position past Dave Simpson, so the man on the pole has been shuffled all the way back to 4th position already.
Like you said, he may have had a problem with the car in the practice session. He wasn't as quick, so right now he's just going to try to hang in there and see what they can do with it.
Perhaps something wrong now with the Beekus car. He's down under the line and backing off. Fish has gone through him, so has Greenfield. So Jan Beekus, in search of his 2nd victory, may be letting it get away. And there's Fangio trying to climb up from the 10th starting position in the field. Right now, walking the point, Pocono, we have Tommy Byrne. More in a moment. At the front of the field, Tommy Byrne continues to lead at the stripe. Mike Greenfield right behind him and Calvin Fish. It's a 3-way battle for the front. Dave Simpson is running in 4th position, and 5th right now belongs to Jan Beekus into turn number 1. We figured Fish was going to make some sort of a move up through the field, Rick Mears, but also someone else that from the very beginning has been climbing rapidly, has been Juan Manuel Fangio. Got a very good start. There's Calvin Fish working on Mike Greenfield for 3rd. Let's look at Fangio. He is the gold car down to the right inside as they come off the 3rd turn and for the start. See, Jeff Andretti takes a look down to the inside. Fangio is at the top of the screen trying to move by Calvin Fish, and he just came storming up through with a very good start using all of that wide front straightaway.
Well, he got a good run at him on the start, so that really helps you going into turn 1.
Meantime, back at the front, we put another lap in the book. 6 are down, 34 to go, and that fight up front continues to rage into turn number 1. And on the backside of the course, there is Fangio moving along in the 5th position, trying to reel in right now Calvin Fish as they move through back there into turn number 2. They're working. This is called the Long Pond straightaway, but it's not the longest one here, Rick. It does set up for turn number 2, which you said requires very precise driving, even though you don't necessarily have to lift there.
You know, when the cars are flat, it really makes it a long straightaway, almost from turn 1 to turn 3. But turn 2 is a very difficult corner. It is a flat-out corner, and you really have to hang on because it is a narrow groove.
They're on to the short chute going into turn number 3 right now. We'll try and get a split at the line among the 3. It's probably about a half a second as they flash over the stripe, putting lap number 7 in the book. And Greenfield tucks up under the wing. Looks like he's going to slingshot into 1. He moves down to the left-hand side. Drag race into turn number 1. A couple of lines available later, and Michael Greenfield may have it. He has gotten through. Tommy Byrne, so the rookie, first ARS run. First time he ever got in a car was
laps to feel where the car wants to run on the racetrack. And as you refine your line with the race car to the track on that given day or this given time, then you're able to maybe pick speed back up and start, reeling the guys in.
Calvin Fish trying to reel in Tommy Byrne right now in a battle for second position. Meantime, back in the pack, 5, 6, and 7. It is Jan Beekes, the first of those, and then Fangio up 5 spots since the start, and perhaps one more as he makes the charge on the straightaway. It's still dead even between the two of them. Also joining in that fight is Michael Snow. The two gold cars are almost perfectly matched. They are from the same team, and after they exit turn number 1, we will know if Fangio has been able to get through way down under the line, Rick, and he certainly did get the position.
It looks like Beekes may have a little bit of an understeer problem. He ran wide coming off of turn 3. It looked like he might have lost the front end, and that's why allowed Fangio to get a run at him.
Well, I know. There he comes, Beekes right back, and down to the inside is Snow. 3 wide they go into flat-out turn number 2. Somebody's got to give. It's Snow, and Fangio tucks in, and Beekes, after one straightaway, gets the position back. But I think the hesitation also has allowed the door to open a little bit for Brian Angaias in the white car, who now does get through Snow, and he picks up a spot.
Anytime you have to lift a little bit on one of these cars, it allows everybody to get a run at you. So it's very important when you get into traffic like that.
Here comes Angaias making a run on Snow. He's gotten through Fangio, and then he'll try and get at Beekes if he can. The number 11 machine of Brian Angaias. He had a crash, and they had to fix the car. Didn't get a qualifying time. You talk about moving up through the field. He's in mid-pack, and Jeff Andretti is into the pits and out of the race. Another disappointing day for young Mr. Andretti, who just has not been able to get the season going. A crash at Phoenix, and 11th place at Milwaukee, and 11th place with a crash at Portland. 3 races off and now this.
He's had a tough year. It's, the only way you can look at it is it's got to get better, and I'm sure it will.
Meantime, Beekes and Angaias and Snow are still battling on the short chute going into the flat turn at number 3. Beekes, he expected handling problems. We know that. He told his crew this morning after the final practices that I'm just going to have to live with it the first 15, 20 laps and hope we're not too far behind because he didn't want to chase it on race day.
Well, the car will change a little bit throughout the day of the race. As the fuel load goes down, the tires change, everything will change a little bit. It could come back his direction. It just depends on how it's working right now.
And Brian Angaias takes him on the front into turn number 1, so Angaias is continuing to pick up space on the racetrack. I'll tell you what, they put the car together after a practice crash for Brian Angaias. He went out, waved off qualifying, said, man, this thing is going to hurt me if I try to run with it. And they just parked it, did further work on it overnight, and took a spot at the back of the field. Here comes Fangio passing teammate Mike Snow, and both of them still shadowing Jan Beekes right there off turn number 2. We're at Pocono. We've got 12 laps to 40 in the book. The race leader is the youngster, Michael Greenfield, in his first ARS competition. Chris McClure and Rick Mears back at Pocono. 6th, 7th, and 8th position right there being contested. Beekes holds the 6th spot, or did at least momentarily, and once again he's under attack. That is Fangio dipping down underneath into turn number 2. So Fangio takes 6th, and back to 7th position is Jan Beekes. Snow contesting for that. Great racing back in the pack, and that has been typical of 1988. Rick.
These guys are having a tremendous battle here. You can see them working the track and just working each other's draft and working the corners very well. This is some excellent racing going on.
There you see Michael Snow taking a look to the right and a little bit on the front straightaway, and maybe back to the left, but content, I think, at the moment to stay right there. Now, these fellas, only 3 people in this field had raced at Pocono in ARS machinery before. And really, with the final practice this morning and only 14 cars competing, they haven't had work in traffic, not any significant work. So they're feeling the turbulence of 170 miles an hour for the first time.
This is the real learning curve here. The real learning process is in the race itself. When you're dealing with the traffic and the turbulence, you end up learning a lot of things that you wouldn't learn by yourself. With the turbulence, the car getting loose and understeer, this is where they really learn the most, is during the race itself.
Snow's gotten through Beekes also as they work into turn number 3, so they're shuffling in behind, but Greenfield continuing to run fairly comfortably out in front. Tommy Byrne maintaining contact, and so is Calvin Fish. Here we are with Ted Pappas now on the attack against Jan Beekes, and it looked like Beekes maybe let him go as they approach turn number 1. So Beekes unable to come to terms, I think, with the full handling package, and maybe considering what happened on the straightaway there, Rick, he's off on power too.
It could be could be working one end or the other of the car a little too hard, and the tire giving up a little bit more from heat. So, that could just eventually get worse as the day goes on.
We'll see how he handles Guido Dacco as they come up to turn number 2. Guido Dacco, the young Italian, lives in Miami and competed in only 2 ARS events before this season and really had been rapidly improving. Now loses some ground on the short chute, closes it down into turn number 3. Meantime, the retirement so far is Jeff Andretti. Let's go to the pits for the explanation.
Chris, we're with Jeff Andretti. Jeff, what happened?
Well, I'm not quite sure. We had something wrong with the suspension in the left front. For some reason, it's bound up, and we don't know why. So just have to go back to the paddock and find out why.
We know there's a puff of smoke from your car on the last pace lap, so apparently it was a problem that was there from the very beginning.
Well, it must have started right from the very beginning. I just figured, the amount of crossway stuff we had in the car, I figured that's why it was smoking the tire like it was, and so I was keeping an eye on it. For the first couple laps of the race, it felt fine at the beginning, and then all of a sudden the thing just started going away, and then in the latter stages before we dropped out, I heard a vibration start, and that was it.
Jeff, thank you. So Jeff Andretti is out early at Pocono.
While we heard from Jeff Andretti, Guido Dacco did come to terms with Jan Beekes and pick up the 10th position. It won't be reflected on the scoreboard until next time around, but he definitely has it. And now Beekes' big problem is hold off the red car. That's Gary Rubio. So Beekes really backing up through the field from the second starting position, and it may be getting too far behind to really recover at this point.
Yeah, he's got a definite problem right now. As far back as he's dropping, he does have a definite problem.
This is a fight for second and third. Michael Greenfield leads it. He's pulled away a little bit. Tommy Byrne, the white car. Calvin Fish, the number 8, trying to chase him down as they come off turn number 1. It's down to about 4 car lengths on the Long Pond straightaway. Now that's about 3,000 feet, and it's not even the longest straightaway on this race course. Turning into turn at number 2, they'll both take the high line, at least on entry, and then dip down. There used to be a big bump there, Rick. I don't think it's much pronounced anymore.
No, the bump isn't near as severe as it was. Right now, the patch, the pavement's a little bit different than the track surface itself, so there's a little bit difference in adhesion. It's a little bit slipperier on the tunnel, but it is much smoother.
But coming off turn number 3, we're working lap number 17 for all of the competitors. Mike Greenfield, the leader, has hit the stripe. There's Tommy Byrne as Byrne pulls away on the front straightaway just ever so slightly, which is under normal circumstances pretty difficult to do with these cars because they come off the same dyno with the same engine preparer within plus or minus 1 or 2%, about 6 horsepower.
They are very close. So really, that's where it boils down to the handling, and he seemed to get off the corner very well, which is what allowed him to stretch it out just a little bit.
Very reliable engines that Buick and the ARS people, Mr. George Montgomery and his son Greg, have provided. They recommend a rebuild at less than 1,000 miles. Some will take it near 1,000, but most of them are doing it every third or fourth race, I think. 300 or 400 miles, and they freshen them up a little bit, and that does help the reliability as well.
It does help the reliability. Plus, it just keeps the sharpness of the engine as far as the horsepower goes.
Now you see the difference between first, second, and third as it continues to space out at least just a little bit. In the foreground there is Michael Greenfield running very comfortably up front. Here's Tommy Byrne, last year's winner here, and Calvin Fish, who got by Byrne going into the final lap at Toronto for his first ARS victory ever off that steeper turn at number 1 they go, and a very flat straightaway. A lot of racetracks, they say straightaway. It's not flat, though. They're banked. Michigan is on the front. Even the back is banked a couple of degrees. These are flat.
They are absolutely flat, and just the length of the front straightaway. Talking about flat, turn 3 right here that they're entering now is the flattest corner on the racetrack, and it almost, when you're in the race car, even though it's got maybe a couple degrees on it, it almost feels like it's banked the wrong way. It's so flat.
I was just going to say, 6 degrees might as well be off camera in some instances, especially with the kind of entry speed. How difficult on a flat turn as opposed to something banked 15, 20, 25, or whatever is it to sustain RPM and the momentum through the turn? Does the bank help or hinder?
The bank helps you. That's like here with our cars. Through the banking, you really feel the car get loaded against the bank, and it gives you much better grip. And when you go through turn 3, you've got to use every little piece. There's a little slant leading toward the grass right in the middle apex of turn 3, and we even hook our tire on the inside of that on the front in to help hold the front of the car in. And I think it's you're almost on your tiptoes going through turn 3.
Calvin Fish still working on Tommy Byrne. He slipped back a little bit a couple of laps ago, but now closing it back down, perhaps renewing the attack as his crew looks on intently. This is the HFC team. Molly Shearson, the daughter of Doug Shearson, an IndyCar owner, has handled this team all year long. The learning curve for the drivers, very, very important as they try to ascend to IndyCar ranks. But you and I, Rick, have talked about this. Molly Shearson is an owner. That's one. Chip Ganassi's now an owner in ARS. That's another. Learning curve for these people pretty important as well.
Very much so, all the way through, as far as owners and even sponsors and mechanics. You know, the chief mechanics and everything else. It's a learning curve for everybody. Somebody that purchases a team that wants to get involved with IndyCar racing wants to maybe get their feet wet here and learn the process, learn how to organize the team and the cars, and then move up.
And consolation time, a little family gathering there. Jeff Andretti retired with brake problems, we are told. We heard him describe a while ago, and Dad Mario, who's always on hand when the youngsters go racing. At Pocono, it's still Mike Greenfield walking the point. Tommy Byrne is first. There is in second position, and Calvin Fish is third. We'll have more in a moment. Chris McClure and Rick Mears back at Pocono. Mike Greenfield continues to lead, followed by Byrne, Fish, and Simpson in the top 4. And a battle just developing and now resolving itself, it looks like. Well, maybe not, Rick Mears. Guido Dacco on the attack against the 21 car, the gold machine of Mike Snow. A pass and then a repass, and then Dacco got back into the position. That's a fight for 7th spot.
They're having a heck of a race there. That was a great move going into one. The guys are really showing their awareness of each other there.
Guido Dacco was way back in 11th starting position on the grid, and he had been very strong in mid-season back in June and July on the road courses of Cleveland and Portland and Toronto. And battle for second and third, it is Calvin Fish making a move to the outside on Tommy Byrne. It's held off so far. Tommy Byrne can't run under pressure. He ran an entire race at Portland from the pole to the checkered flag with Fangio literally tucked under his rear wing and never missed a beat. He's been there. He's a little driver.
That says a lot. For a guy to be able to run under pressure like that all day long, you know, that takes some experience as well as everything else. And if you can work under pressure like that, you're going to go places.
And again, at Toronto, it was the same thing throughout the entire event with Fish in that same relative position to Byrne. It was a fight for the lead at that particular race. And Byrne had him handled from a pressure standpoint, from a concentration standpoint, until 4th gear let go when he wanted it in the 11th turn on the next to final lap, and Fish finally went on to win. But both of these guys have run together before. Another part of the development, I think, Rick, learning who you can really rely on running close to those open wheels.
Who you can run with and who you can't. You've got to know your players, just as in any other sport. And you know who you can run within inches of lap after lap, and you know who you might give a little extra foot or so. But that's all part of the learning process.
Of course, both of those fellows looking to pick up some ground in the Duration Cup standings, the $100,000 points fund for this year, currently being led by Dave Simpson. Jan Mingus came into this event with 73 points, just 9 points behind, and in second spot. Fish is in third and Byrne in 4th position, and they need the points. This is Brian and guys running in the 5th spot right now, up from 13th on the starting grid. As we mentioned, he had trouble in practice, wasn't able to post a qualifying time. He seems to like this. He got a little dad in there on the speedway.
I believe so. He's done a tremendous job from that starting position and having to wave off qualifying the way he did. And the guys just did a heck of a job getting the car set up as well as it is right now for him to be able to put on this kind of show.
As he comes down the front straightaway, it is a 25-second gap up to the front, and we have Dacco apparently into the wall on the race course. There you see the machinery coming to rest, and it's just off turn number 3, and he has kissed the outside wall, and there is rear end damage, certainly to the wing, although it doesn't look like he took a corner off. Perhaps he backed it straight in.
It looks like it probably got loose on him down the middle of the corner and just slid it up backwards into the wall.
And he will make his way into the pits. His day certainly done, at least from a competition standpoint. If it's only just the wing, they can strap maybe another one back on, and he can go out and run for a few points. But as far as a contender, he no longer is.
No, it looks like it's possibly that it is the wing. So he's it looks like he's climbing out, so that ends it for the day.
Of course, a lot of times, you know, limited budgets, there might not be a wing just sitting there like there is with the Penske team.
This could be.
So Guido Dacco having a pretty good run. Take a look at it as he got a lot of tire smoke out, and there he is around, and that's just after the contact. But he took it in at the back and at least limited the damage.
Yes. He's very fortunate there.
First incident in the race, and we do have a yellow flag. They will, of course, go out. The workers will inspect the track for any kind of debris that was left there or oil down. So under yellow with 26 laps in the book, we have Mike Greenfield in front, and Tommy Byrne and Calvin Fish will be back with the restart in just a moment. Still under yellow at Pocono. There you see the back of Guido Dacco's car. Certainly some structural damage along with the wing. Let's go to the pits and find out exactly how it transpired.
Guido, what happened?
I no grip in rear. The car is not possible. The oldest here is finishing.
Did you make contact with another car? Was there another car involved?
I don't know.
You're okay, though, right?
Yes, sir.
Chris Guido Dacco out at Pocono.
Under the yellow flag, the field is bunched up going into turn number 1. Meantime, one of the contenders climbing up through the field, we have the 21 car of Mike Snow. And Rick, it looks as though they're changing perhaps the wicker bill, certainly a rear wing adjustment.
Yeah, you see, either he's pushing or he's oversteering, one or the other, you know, pushing or loose. So they're either taking some wing out or putting some wing in to try to help balance the car for him.
Well, certainly the luxury of a pit stop for that kind of adjustment is unusual in the ARS because they run wire to wire without scheduled pit stops for tires or fuel. But here under a yellow on a long course, you can afford it. Jan Beekes has also been in, and there you see Mike Snow leaving and almost turns it around as he gets out of this. Those little Buicks have some torque.
They do have some torque. This will allow the guys to settle in a little bit too, and it'll bunch it back up. The tires will cool down, and now they'll be able to start over again. And if they know which direction the chassis is, they'll be able to kind of try to maintain it a little bit to where they won't overwork whichever end it is, whether it's pushing or it's loose, and it could make them a lot more competitive.
Pit crew of Jan Beekes, they've just given attention to that race car, which had backed up considerably in the first 27 laps of the event. But now they're going to bunch up, and they are on the lead lap. Everybody except George Metzos and Dacco and Jeff Andretti. Dacco and Andretti, having retired, are on the lead lap. So this yellow may have given a big break to a whole bunch of folks. The lights are still on the car out in turn number 3. The pace car leading them along, so at least one more lap before we go back to green. While we wait for the restart, let's pause for this ARS Quick Fact, brought to you by Quaker State. Quaker State with QSX. Event, part of the object of the exercise is no pit stops. So what can a driver do to help himself on the course when the fuel load lightens up, the tires go off a little bit, the characteristics of the track change, and the car changes as a result? Well, it's always available on ARS cars, but not all of them hook it up. Roll bar adjustment. In the case of Calvin Fish, he's elected to go with a front roll bar adjustment that he can operate from the cockpit. If he wants to stiffen the suspension, he simply moves this bar forward. If he wants to soften it, back it comes. He can adjust it from the cockpit, stiff and soft. One of the tools available to Calvin Fish to adjust his car on the fly in ARS racing. We're anticipating a green flag as they come off turn number 3. The lights are out on the pace car, and flagman Terry Walsh looks over the field now in single file. Acceleration is underway, and Walsh likes what he sees, and here we go. Mike Greenfield first to the line. On the outside is Calvin Fish attacking Tommy Byrne right there. A big fight going into turn number 1 for the first 3 positions. 4th belongs to Dave Simpson, and then behind them in 5th and 6th we have Fangio and Gary Rubio now, and Brian Angaius has slipped very quickly back to the 7th spot. He didn't get a good restart. Onto the back straight, Fish looks to the right-hand side against Tommy Byrne. Now to the left side, slides across behind the wing, risking an upset in the turbulence, and it worked. Into turn number 2, he's got the pass. Tricky business that, Rick Mears. You tried it once at Michigan when you had to on the last lap, and it upset the car, and you were in the wall.
Yes, that can't bite you. When you have to make a quick move right underneath somebody that way, you lose a
2.92 behind the lead. Dave Simpson, 2.5 seconds, and Juan Fangio now in the 5th spot, up from almost the back of the field, just 3 seconds off the pace. We'll keep an eye on him as we have Fangio right there working on Simpson, and Simpson looks like he's got a little waver in the back of the car working through the highest bank here in turn number 1.
He did look a little loose coming off the exit of the corner. You know, he might be down a little bit on power, too, because on the restart, just as on the start, he fell back, and, you know, he wasn't able to stay right with the guys, so he could be a little bit down on power for some reason.
Both of those fellows right there, Dave Simpson and Juan Fangio, contenders, of course, for Driver of the Year honors in 1988 in this HFC American Racing Series. That carries a cash award of $2,500 to the man judged to be the best of the year in the series. And the panel of experts choosing them, of course, are from the media. I don't know if that jaundices the choice or not. Rick, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. Not a bit.
Fangio continues to shadow Dave Simpson. This is a fight for 4th position and a dozen points in the standings. Of course, Simpson has a dual purpose here. He came in, Rick, with the points lead. Now, that can't be your primary concern during an event, but it does come into play somewhere, especially if the car's off a little bit. Let's leave here with some points.
Yes, absolutely. If the car is off, then obviously you can't really hang the car out to try to win the race and possibly take a chance of losing, you know, all the points altogether. So you're better off to do, you know, probably what he's doing right there. Just try to run as good and consistent as possible and get to the end of the race.
Also, Ted Trappis, and we have more contact out on the race course. It looks like 2, perhaps even 3 cars involved, and it is one of the gold cars. We'll wait for certain identification, but I do believe that is the 21 car of Mike Snow. As we get in a little tighter, it is Mike Snow instead of Fangio, who is fighting with Dave Simpson in an almost identical car for the 4th position. Snow was back in 11th spot at the time of the crash off of turn number 2 on the backside of the race course. Take a look at it. There they are, flat turn right there, and he just got sideways, spun around. 2 of them spun. Now, I wonder if perhaps somebody laid down something on the racetrack.
Well,
back there, Rick.
the first car that he looked like he hit the dirt as he came across, and that might have, you know, thrown some on the track for the 21 car to hit, which is probably why he lost it.
First one through was that man right there, 31, Jan Beekes, won at the Meadowlands, 2nd qualifying for this event, but now, after a dismal day, backing up through the field, has spun off turn number 2, and his day is done, and it looks like Mike Snell may be done. He misses the strap there, and they're going to have to go out and retie it. If they can bump start him, they will, and he can get back into competition. He didn't touch anything, so he may be able to go.
No, he could get it going again. If they can bump start it and get it running again, he could get right back into the race.
Once again, we're under yellow at Pocono. 32 of 40 laps in the book. Mike Greenfield is the man in front. 2nd place belongs to Calvin Fish, then Tommy Byrne and Dave Simpson. Back with the restart after this. We're still under yellow at Pocono, and that man, Jan Beekes, having spun off turn number 2, has retired from the action. We're waiting for the cleanup to be concluded out on the race course so we can get what will now be a trophy dash to the wire. And about a lap and a half from now, we expect to get the green flag. Beekes has been chased down by our Joe Wiedensaw. Let's go to the pits, find out exactly what happened.
Chris, we're with Jan Beekes. What happened, Jan?
Well, it was really disappointing. You know, we ran really well in qualifying. All the PIG guys did a great job getting it ready for qualifying. And when we ran the car in the warm-up with this exact same setup, the car was perfect. But unfortunately, after the 2nd lap in the race, it had a horrendous push. And so I came in for a pit stop, and they cranked in some front wing. And I just was trying real hard, and it actually, they put too much front wing, and I got loose in the tunnel turn and just spun.
I noticed some grass lodged on the right side of the car. Did you go off course and make contact?
No, well, I did go off the inside of the track. I turned the car in and just whipped around on me. And, you know, I went through the grass on the inside of the car. We changed all 4 tires. I could probably go back out, but, you know, I don't want to be a danger to anybody else. The car's not working quite right today, and we'll just have to hope for better times next time.
We'll see you in mid-Ohio. Jan Beekes out at Pocono.
Chris McClure along with Rick Mears back at the Pocono International Raceway. We're coming up on the last few laps of this 40-lap race for the HFC ARS competitors. Mike Greenfield is on the point. Calvin Fish closing up behind him. The lights, Rick Mears, are off the pace car, and he's pulled away. So the field really in the control of Greenfield as they tour off turn number 2, and there they go already. fellows are looking to get a real early shot on the rest of the field.
They may be catching a pace car here if they aren't careful coming off, which I think they have. They're having to lift a little bit there, it looks like. Yes, they have caught it.
Now they go by the pace car, shades of Milwaukee. The lights were off and he was below the line. Do they give the green? They do. And we've got a 4-car serial at the stripe with Tommy Byrne moving to the outside against Greenfield. Down to the inside is Calvin Fish, and right there is Dave Simpson looking for a seam to move through. Drifting just a little bit is the Byrne car as he cuts off Greenfield, who has to tuck back into third position. So he lost 2 spots. Calvin Fish remains static in second position, and Tommy Byrne got the benefit of the restart. We're less than 10 miles to go, less than 4 laps to go, and right there is Fangio making a bid for 4th against Dave Simpson into turn number 2. Simpson probably has the line, but Fangio pulls away. Simpson gets on the brakes. Now Fangio takes a peek out the right side of Greenfield, looking for the 3rd position. Trophy dash, Rick Mears, and wheel-to-wheel action.
Absolutely. These guys are running flat out right now. They know there's not much time left, and they've got to make the moves. Any time that it arises that they can make a move, they've got to do it.
Coming to the conclusion of lap 37 of 40, Tommy Byrne walking the point, 10 car lengths in front of Calvin Fish as they hit the stripe. Those fellows fighting for position behind. Dave Simpson trying to recover the spot against Fangio as he takes the wider line on the front straightaway. A wider entry into turn number 1, and it pays off. He gets 4th place back. Good driving by Dave Simpson there to save some points in the position on the track. His next objective is the white car, that of Mike Greenfield, who led so many laps but really didn't come to terms with the start, and it cost him. Fangio came from way back in the field for a good, solid run so far. No matter where he finishes, a proud day for him.
Done an excellent job. Very good job with where they started.
Tommy Byrne out front, looking for his 2nd straight Pocono victory. He did it in 1987. That was wire to wire. This one has not been wire to wire for anybody. A lot of lead changes. There they are in the front straightaway. Calvin Fish gets a little better exit speed, it appears, closes down ever so slightly on the front straightaway. Fish said earlier in the week, after a Tuesday test here, Rick Mears, this is what it's all about. He loves the place.
Well, as you can see right here, he's adapted to it very well, and he's running strong. And I think he really kind of set back earlier in the race and saved the tires a little bit, and he's going to try to utilize that now.
And here comes Greenfield against Calvin Fish. Looks to the outside. Nothing there. It doesn't appear going into turn number 2. Braking may pay off for 1. Fish holds onto the spot. Now Greenfield, hesitation. As Fish got to the left side of the car, looked like on the dirt just a little bit. Greenfield got up alongside. Good recovery by Fish, but he's in a battle now.
He looked like he had a little problem in turn 2 in the middle, and I don't know if he got down very low on what looked like some of the dirt and had to get out of it a little bit.
Big break for Tommy Byrne, who extends his lead up front. Greenfield recaptures the 2nd position. He's almost 2 seconds behind, and Fish gave up the spot with a little bit of a bobble out in turn number 2, and now here comes Dave Simpson trying to get the 3rd spot away from Calvin Fish. This time, he takes a look to the high line. It's not there. Takes a peek down to the low line. Let's see how turn number 2 turns out for Calvin Fish. This time, Simpson has got him down on the straightaway on the inside, so turn 2, that issue no longer lives.
I think Fish has a little bit of a problem of some sort. I don't know what it is, but I think it first showed its hand in turn 2.
And he's backing up considerably now, just worrying about finishing the race with half a lap to go. We're working lap number 40. Tommy Byrne making a bid for his 2nd consecutive victory at Pocono. Into turn number 3 he is. 10 car lengths in front of Michael Greenfield, who closes it down just slightly in turn number 3. They're on the straightaway, and the checkered flags wave, and Mike Greenfield is the first to the line, and Tommy Byrne has gotten 2nd position. 3rd place goes to Dave Simpson, and 4th place looks like it goes to Fangio, and Calvin Fish, with late trouble, backs off considerably and doesn't finish in the top money. Terry Walsh, the flag man, stopping the field, and Michael Greenfield with a victory over Tommy Byrne, getting it in the final lap. 0.76 seconds, the margin at the checkered flag. Michael Greenfield, the number 20 machine, brand new team, brand new car, fresh engine in his first ARS race, has won it. He did it in the last lap. While we watched Calvin Fish and all of his troubles, it was Tommy Byrne who had even more significant trouble into turn 2. Rick Mears, he just flat got boxed.
Well, he did. This is where, you know, Lady Luck plays her hand. He came into the corner here, caught the slower car, had to lift for the car, and that gave Greenfield the run at him. And there was really nothing he could do. His hands were tied.
Right in turn number 2, Greenfield far enough back, as it turns out. He never had to lift. He saw the whole thing develop and just blew on the timing into turn number 3.
The timing was perfect for him there. It just worked out definitely in his favor.
And there he comes onto the front straightaway. What a great start at the ARS level for this guy. Last year, second in Formula Atlantic points. This year, not so successful at 17. Switched over, joined Chip Ganassi and Pat Patrick with that new club, that new group. They put it together, rapid improvement over a 3-day period, and there's the payoff.
That's it. They're doing a great job. And as we said earlier, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with all year long.
We'll go down to the winner's circle and talk with Mike Greenfield and the top 3 in just a moment.
Come on up. Thanks. Chris, we're with a pretty happy group of guys down here. Michael Greenfield, that's it, huh? First race and you just go out and take it.
Yeah, well, the guys really did a good job of putting their team together in a matter of no time and getting us here and giving me a good car to work with for the weekend. I really didn't think it'd turn out like this, but I certainly couldn't have asked for a better weekend.
Well, those last 2 or 3 laps must have been pretty exciting with the lead changes.
They sure were, you know. I wasn't sure what was going on. I was trying to, you know, come out with a pretty good restart, and I thought that I had put a little bit, not enough space between me and the pace car. So I backed off it a bit, and everybody else just jumped on behind me, and then they just put a lot of distance on me. But I managed to catch them in the 3 laps. And I certainly didn't expect Tommy to run in the traffic like that, but it was a perfect break, and I bet it was an exciting finish for the fans.
Well, another guy's pretty happy, too, and this is, I guess, a rookie car owner for the ARS Series, Chip Ganassi. You must be thrilled.
I'll tell you, Joe, I've known Michael for a long time and ran into him a couple of weeks ago, and, you know, I knew he could do the job. I know he's got the experience, and I know, I'll tell you what, my guys that put the team together, and I mean, literally overnight, 16 days ago, this team didn't exist. And we just threw it together and came out and ran. And I'll tell you, Alan Ladyman's the guy to thank. Andy Riggs and his guys, I mean, they did a great job. These guys worked effortlessly day and night. They worked 17, 18 hours a day for about 4 or 5 days in a row, and they put the thing together. And we came out of practice here. We even missed the first practice. It's just a real tribute to the guys on the team and to Michael. He did a great job.
So Michael Greenfield in his first ARS race wins at Pocono. Chris, we're with Tommy Byrne. That was kind of crazy at them. What happened out there?
Well, I mean, it was the first race ever with 1 lap to go. I knew that nobody could take it away from me, but never count your chickens, because I came up on Mike Snow coming into the dog leg where the crash was, and he obviously didn't see us, or he wasn't watching, but he was going in about 5 cylinders. I could hear his engine misfiring, and I had nowhere to go. I couldn't go left or right, so I had to stop behind him, and Mike just came straight past me.
You and Greenfield had quite a race today. What was your impression of Michael? I mean, his first race in the ARS.
Oh, he did a fantastic job. I mean, you know, it's very hard to come into this series and just win it like that. Obviously, he hit all the right combinations, but Michael's a very good driver. He did that in the other series he drove. But, you know, he's very, very good.
Tommy, congratulations on your second place finish here at Pocono.
Thank you very much.
And we're with Dave Simpson, who finished 3rd today at Pocono. Fairly exciting race.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. I was kind of frustrated most of the race. I was trying to work with the car. It was pushing real bad. Evidently something hit my front wing in the beginning of the race and knocked it out of adjustment and plus dented it. And so I just had a real bad push that I was trying to fight, and I was trying to change my lines and try everything I could to get it to work, and all I could do was just barely hang on, and I barely got 3rd. I just passed Calvin Fish on the last lap there and was able to do that, and that made me happy. That made the day worthwhile.
Dave, we've seen a lot of problems all week for these cars on this track. Is this track unusually rough on these flat-bottom cars?
Well, it's real bumpy, and they're flat-bottom cars, and we're running pretty high speeds, and the setup is so critical from 1 minute to the next. You know, with a cloud cover today compared to yesterday being a sunny day, the track temperature changes and the conditions change, and obviously your car changes. So it's hard to keep up with the track, and So it's quite a challenge, yeah.
Dave, congratulations on your third place finish, and we'll see you at Mid-Ohio.
Thanks.
And so what is becoming an amazing 1988 HST American Racing Series season continues unabated. Coming into Pocono, there had been 6 events and 6 different winners. Now make it 7 and 7 as Michael Greenfield pulls off a stunning pass on the final lap to edge out Tommy Byrne. Byrne, a man who has already won a race in 1988, could very easily have won 3 because 2 victories here at Pocono and back at Toronto have been snatched away from him with a lap or less to go when he gave up the lead. Looking at the final order of finish, we have Greenfield on the front, and then Byrne, Dave Simpson scoring very, very nicely, then Fangio and Prappas. Prappas coming from the back of the field to 5th place. As a result, the Duration Cup standings are these. The leader is still Dave Simpson with 96 points after finishing 3rd. Byrne moves into 2nd with 78. Fish up to 3rd position at 76. Jan Beekes, who did not score in this event after retiring, has fallen into 4th spot, but certainly is still a contender. And there's a long way to go. Still 5 races in 1988 before it is all said and done. The next of those, back to the road courses at Mid-Ohio, and we'll be there to bring it all to you. Until then, on behalf of our analyst for the day, Mr. Rick Mears, 3 times an Indy 500 champion, I'm Chris McClure. Thank you all for joining us.